Welcome back to a brand new episode of Your Wealth and Beyond. I'm your host, Andrew Raffel, and today we have the pleasure of speaking, chatting, videoing with Joe Apfelbaum, the CEO and founder of Ajax Union, B2B digital marketing agency based in Brooklyn. And Joe's not only a seasoned business strategist, but also what we call a LinkedIn expert, certified Google trainer, author of 5 books. Joe, welcome to the show. How are you today?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you so much for having me on the show. I'm really excited to be here today.
And it's great to see you again. I had the pleasure of having you speak to our EO group in Arizona. We've got a great chapter out here and been following you for a while. But Joe, you came out. We talked a little AI and LinkedIn and a lot of the topics that are near and dear to my heart. So that's what we're going to dig in today. So good to see you again.
Good to see you. Thank you so much. Going to Arizona was really fantastic. I'm actually going back in March to speak for a moving organization called the Office Moving Alliance. And I'm going to be speaking on Monday, the first Monday and the first Tuesday of March. So I'm really excited about Arizona in general. It was my first time in Arizona when I went to EO, and I actually ran throughout the whole Scottsdale. I ran all the way to the Trader Joe's. I don't know if you know where that is, from the Valley Ho to the Trader Joe's.
Yep,
it was so much fun.
I live about 5 minutes away from Valley Ho, so I know exactly. That's a nice run up Scottsdale Road.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's kind of one of your claim to fames is each day getting out there and really just doing your thing, getting the video of yourself of whether it's a selfie or do a video, like, you know, content and marketing, all those things are near and dear to us here at Bayntree. So like how did that become part of your normal routine in letting your audience see what you're doing on a daily basis and build that real persona of who you are?
One of the things that I realize is that people do business with other people that they know, like, and trust. I think I read it in a book by Dale Carnegie or something like that. People do business with other people that they know, like, and trust. And if I want people to do business with me, if I want to be able to inspire people, if I want to make a difference for people, they have to know that I exist. They have to like me and trust me. But how could somebody else like me and trust me if I don't like and trust myself? If I don't have self-confidence, I don't have confidence in myself, how will somebody else have confidence in me? And so I had to learn the 6 pillars of self-esteem by Nathaniel Branden. I had to really go deep and figure out, why am I afraid of, like, having my photo online? Why am I afraid of doing video? Why do I not like my voice? One of my core values is curiosity. So really going deep and asking those tough questions and trying to figure that out, doing therapy, going to coaches, going to seminars, watching Tony Robbins live with a bunch of EO members, and then going back with my brother, and just, you know, really going deep into the world of personal development. Personal development is near and dear to my heart. And I believe that me being out there in the world and expressing myself and sharing myself authentically has to do with the work that I've done, because many of us go through trauma when we're growing up. And I've went through some trauma, and that trauma made me want to become more closed off and become a shell and be afraid of public speaking and have a lot of shame around things that it doesn't make sense. You know, this concept of, like, fear and shame, it doesn't make sense. There are a bunch of lies that we tell ourselves, that we're not good enough or that we're not worthy or whatever it is. And ultimately, that stops us from shining as the beautiful light that we are. So if you can, like, overcome that stuff, it becomes really, really powerful.
Yeah, that's a beautiful mantra. It's I almost feel like this is one of my therapy sessions already. So thank you on that. I just don't have to pay you. So, I was listening to one of your former podcasts from a few years ago, and you had mentioned to the guests that you were, feeling not insecure, but, you weren't getting followers, and you just got out there and you just started running, did this video, you get 10 likes the first day. And then you're like, wow, this is holding me accountable. And I'm aiming people to actually see who I am, that authentic self, which you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, posting on, like, Facebook or posting on LinkedIn or Instagram and not getting any likes or any comments is brutal. You said, Joe, I got a therapy session, I didn't pay, but you're paying attention. Attention is a currency. And so when you realize, oh my God, what value do I have? I post something and nobody even cares enough to drop a comment or a like. That really makes you question whether or not you're actually adding value to the world, if you have value as an individual. And although those things aren't really correlated, your value to the world is you just showing up and being yourself. But when I really started questioning that, I started realizing that my ego, my identity was stopping me from truly being myself. And when people share inauthentically online, people notice. No one's going to like and comment on that stuff. But when I authentically share, I'm going to start seeing more results. So I was vulnerable on Facebook and I shared, hey guys, I'm overweight. I want to lose weight. I need accountability. I'll run 1 minute per like. And all of a sudden I got 10 likes and I was like, oh my God. And I got addicted to that. The next day I got 20, then I got 30, then I got 70. I was getting 70 a day and I was out there and I was 100 pounds heavier than I am today. So that really motivated me to be able to start putting myself out there. And it really helped me be able to see that people actually do care and people will get involved. You just have to be your authentic self and really show up.
That's awesome. Great advice there. And, content, AI, LinkedIn, all these hot topics that are out there right now, the intersection of artificial intelligence and how to use it to be more efficient. That's one of the things I want to chat with you today about. And you brought that to our EO chapter when you came out. And we look at this AI landscape, right? It's ever changing. This podcast being recorded today, by the time it gets published to the ether, it'll have changed 10 times over. But for the listeners out there, the Your Wealth and Beyond, it's about building wealth, finding purpose, a lot of business owners. Can we talk today high level first about AI, what you have seen so far, some of the successes, and what some of the business owners, the listeners, should be looking at, as it can be such a difficult thing to try to wrap their heads around. How do I use it? It's too difficult, and I'm just going to put my head in the sand.
If you are a business owner today and you are not educated on how artificial intelligence works, you are missing out, period. Artificial intelligence, according to many experts, is seen as the idea of creating fire. Like, you literally have the ability to create fire and you are afraid of it because it's hot. AI is hot. AI can be dangerous. Fire can be dangerous. Electricity can be dangerous. But learn how to leverage it. And suddenly you have cities. You have life. You have peace. You have love. You have creation. AI is extremely powerful. In a very down-to-earth, practical way for a business owner, think of AI as your assistant. But not just any assistant, because many of us have hired assistants and we were not happy with our assistants. We told the assistant, go do this, and we gave them terrible instructions, and they did a terrible job at doing whatever we told them to do, and then you said to yourself, if I have to redo it, I may as well do it myself. I literally heard a guy say this last night. He's like, I'm not hiring a bookkeeper. I'm going to do my 1099s myself, even if it takes me 10 hours. I said, why? He's like, because I have to redo it anyway after. So if I have to redo it, I might as well just do it myself. I said, why don't you create systems and processes and hire someone that's competent and pay them triple, because your time is more valuable than spending 10 hours doing 1099s. Instead of paying $15 an hour to somebody and not giving them instructions and hoping for the best and them doing it wrong, pay $50 to somebody per hour and have them spend 10 hours doing it instead of you spending the time, and it'll get done right because you'll give them instructions on how to do it right and how not to do it wrong. And he's like, well, how am I going to create the systems and processes? I said, artificial intelligence, baby. He's like, I don't even know how to use it. I don't even know where to begin. I said, take my course. I have a course that you can take. He's like, I don't really take courses. I don't believe in courses. I was like, so work 10 hours doing your own 1099s and don't rely on AI, just like there are people that won't take airplanes and instead will cut their grass with scissors. Go ahead, cut your grass with scissors. Good luck. Good luck. Especially in like New Jersey. I just bought a house in New Jersey. And by the way, AI helped me buy the house. You cut the grass with, I have tons of grass. I'm going to cut it with scissors. It's going to take me forever. By the time I finish cutting the grass, it'll be winter. It'll be covered with snow. So the idea is learn how to leverage AI. So there are many things you can do with AI. You can brainstorm with it. Think about it. Imagine you want to come up with ideas for how to grow your business. You have a financial services business. You want to grow your business, but you need to brainstorm ideas, and your forum, your EO forum, is not available to brainstorm with you right now. Or maybe they're not that creative. You can get AI to be creative together with you in the middle of the night. I went to Mexico last January. I went for a run in Playa. I don't know if you know where Playa is in Mexico. Yep. It's near Tulum, not too far, an hour from from the airport there. And I was running on the beach and I was thinking to myself, you know what? Let me have a conversation with ChatGPT. ChatGPT is the tool from OpenAI. It stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer. I'm saying this because a lot of people still don't even know what this is. It's an AI assistant that you can chat with, and it's extremely, extremely intelligent. And I asked it, I said, hey, this is my background. I have a marketing agency for 15 years. I've helped over 1,100 clients do digital marketing for them, SEO, social media. We're really focused on helping people with LinkedIn, especially when I see people are not posting on LinkedIn, they're not leveraging it properly. We really help them be able to do it for them. But we also started during the pandemic, we started a training company. I told ChatGPT, I'm like training it. I'm telling it. We started a training company. We trained over 1,000 companies on how to use LinkedIn. And, we had a lot of success. Can you give me ideas for how I can leverage AI to be able to generate $100 million in revenue? That's the type of question I'm asking while I'm running on the beach. And it says, create a course. Create a new course for AI. People don't know how to use AI. You have a course for how to use LinkedIn? Create one for AI. And I'm like, huh? And then it said, come up with a piece of software that helps people be able to use LinkedIn to do digital marketing on LinkedIn with AI. I'm like, huh? And then it came up with a bunch of other ideas. Write a book and do this and do that. And all that will help you be able to generate $100 million. So what I do, I sat down and I created a course. And you have access to the course. If you were in the EO Arizona class, you have access to the course. 1,000 people bought that course within a few months. I then started developing software. I went to go meet developers in Vegas, and I failed with them. And then I met another developer, and then I failed. And then I met another developer, and then I succeeded. And now I have a software that has thousands of people using my AI software for LinkedIn, and that business can have $100 million value in 5 years if I play my cards right. No question about it. But I would have never been able to create this if I didn't brainstorm with the AI and then research with the AI what softwares are available. And then strategize with the AI, how do I even create like a development plan? Like, I'm not a developer. I did development back in the day, but I don't even know where to begin. What software should I use? Where should I find developers? How should I talk to them? How can I create schematics? How should I do the server? How should I configure things? Like literally everything, including the code. It writes the gosh darn code, but you have to be a developer to understand if the code is good because AI can lie, can make things up, just like your assistant can lie and make things up and act like a doctor, and it's not even a doctor. It's making things up. It's like you have hemorrhoids. I don't have hemorrhoids. It's just a rash. But you get the idea. The idea is if you go to somebody and they're not an expert, you're a financial services expert. You're going to rely on AI to do for your financial services? No. But you can have AI help you come up with new plans. If you understand stocks and you understand commodities and you understand investments and you understand how things work, you can have AI advise you because it has trillions of parameters of information. And ChatGPT is just one of them. There's Google Bard and Pi.ai by Reid Hoffman, the founder of LinkedIn. He started his own. And there's one called there's a company called Anthropic that left OpenAI, and they opened one called Claude.ai where you can upload files. It's just really, really interesting the way that AI is coming out. And if you're not leveraging it as your assistant, as your guru, as your guide, as your brainstorming tool, as your researching tool, you're missing out. I'm just letting you know you're afraid of it. Your fear is stopping you from being successful. You're missing out. You need a guru to come in and train your team. If you don't want to get training, if you're a CEO and you don't want to get training, train your team. Could you imagine how much more powerful an AI-powered human is rather than just like a human that is not willing to use this latest technology? You want me to give you a couple more examples? I'm talking a lot.
This is great. And listeners, just so you know, last night I did ChatGPT and I used Bard and I said, hey, I've got Joe coming on. He's coming on the Your Wealth and Beyond podcast. Give me some topics that'll be representative if we're going to talk about AI. And literally within 7 seconds, I have a framework of what I can and can't use, and it dug in deep. But then, as you said, it's all about understanding the prompts and knowing how to get the best answers from it. It can't just be like, hey, if you go too broad, it's going to be tough. You've got to drill it down, and you've got to not be afraid of
garbage in. There's a famous saying, garbage in, garbage out. And I want everyone to know, if you talk to the AI like an idiot, you're going to get idiotic responses. I've told the AI, behave like an idiot and be drunk and give me drunk responses, and it did that. It gave me drunk responses like it was a drunk lunatic. I said, give me an accent, give me a Russian accent, and it talked with a Russian accent. Like it can literally do whatever you tell it to do, and if you don't give it instructions, it's going to randomly do things. So what you want to do is not just hope for the best, because hope is a great thing, but it's not a great strategy. Instead, you need to apply a strategy, and inside our AI circle, we have something called the AI circle. It's a mastermind group that meets once a week. And we get together with people and we teach them prompt engineering. So if you're listening to this podcast right now, write down the word prompt engineering. You're no longer a CEO. You're no longer a wealth advisor. You're no longer an assistant. You are now a prompt engineer. You need to learn how to communicate in ways that you didn't need to learn how to communicate before. A lot of people are in broken relationships because they don't communicate properly. If you want to have a broken relationship with the AI, then don't communicate properly. You're going to be frustrated, and eventually you're going to get divorced from the AI. If you want to have a good relationship with the AI, learn how to communicate. Learn how to tell it to be a role. Learn how to be very specific with it. You could say act as a marketing strategist. Learn how to give it a task in the right way. Learn how to be able to qualify the perimeters for what to include, what not to include. When I train AI, I have an entire framework for how to train the AI and who I am. It doesn't just include my name. It doesn't just include what I do. It includes my industry, includes my keywords, includes my taboos, my tone of voice. It includes the things, the common phrases that I have, the phrases that I don't want it to include. Like, you can literally go in there and train it in a way where it'll actually sound like you. And that's where the power is.
Yep. And, when we also think about trying to figure out your competitors, the landscape right now, if I had an intern to go find the top 10 competitors to Bayntree Wealth Advisors here in Scottsdale, it will take them probably a week. Now we can use the prompt. We could figure out who's doing what. We could figure out what SEO keywords that they're ranked for, what people are searching for that's our avatar client. And within probably 3 or 4 different prompts of questions, we can have a whole framework of who's my competitive landscape. And then you can start catering to that and start building the message or start building the blog so that you get higher search engine positioning. There's power in that.
Yeah, and even just like leveraging LinkedIn, for example. I looked at your LinkedIn and I do my research before I get on a podcast, and often I give advice. And so do I have permission to give you advice?
Yeah, we're going to, hit me hard on that one because the LinkedIn's been off. If you look at some of the other things we're doing, it's a lot better. But yeah, we'll blame my marketing team for that. But yeah,
but that's fine. That's fine. My point is, like, LinkedIn is the world's largest professional social network. There's 1 billion people on it, 1 billion with a B. Okay, and more CEOs than any other platform, more millionaires than any other platform. You're a wealth advisor. You want to work with wealthy people. And the people that are on TikTok aren't as wealthy as the people on LinkedIn. Just let's face it. There's a lot of poor people on TikTok. 80% of people are living paycheck to paycheck. Do the research. And that's in the United States. Most people don't even have $1,000 in savings. So if you want customers, you got to find where the CEOs, the managing directors are, the executives, the EVPs at companies that need your financial advice because they have a nest egg and they need to invest, and they have goals that they want to achieve. They're not gonna just try to do it themselves. They're gonna hire someone like you. And so LinkedIn has 1 billion of those types of people that are just there to do business, to connect, to network, and build relationships. I don't know if you know this, but LinkedIn is the easiest platform to build a followership today. Why? Because every single time you make a connection, that connection becomes a follower of yours. You can add up to 30,000 connections on LinkedIn. And most people are ignoring their connections. They're not even adding connections on a regular basis. And I could see from your profile that you have over 3,000 followers already. That's amazing. But you can have 30,000 followers on LinkedIn. And that's relatively easy just by adding connections and adding the right connections. I'm connected to all the CEOs on the Inc. 5000. Those are CEOs that I'm connected to. So out of my 29,000 connections, 15,000 of them are YPO members, Vistage members, EO members on the Inc. 5000. They're people that I've met or that I've associated with that I know are higher level people that I want to be associated with because they say your network is your net worth. And so the concept of LinkedIn is very powerful. Now, for you specifically, you haven't been consistently posting on LinkedIn. And by the way, when I'm talking to you, Andrew, I'm talking to everyone listening to this. You haven't been consistently posting on LinkedIn because a post expires after 24 hours. So if you're on LinkedIn and you post something and you forget and you wait 2 months, you just wasted 2 months of the opportunity to get in front of people every single day. 60 million people are logging in every single day on LinkedIn. Now, you might say it's hard to post on LinkedIn. It was hard until artificial intelligence popped its head. Because now you can use a tool like our tool, Evy AI, EVYAI, and for free, you could log in, go to the idea generator, put in a topic like financial advice or whatever it is, press generate ideas. It'll pop 4 ideas out for you. And then you press create post. And within 5 seconds, a post will be generated with a hook, with main points, with call to action, and with the popular hashtags that will make it rank on LinkedIn, just like that, for free. Boom. And if you want unlimited access to our AI, it's a couple dollars. It's less than $1 a day. It's like really, really affordable. And so if you think about the power of just creating a post, you don't need an extension, you don't need anything. There's many more things that we can do with our extension, like leave comments and so on. But even just going to the website platform, going in there, creating a post, posting it on LinkedIn, and watch what that post does for you. I had somebody told me he posted on LinkedIn using Evie AI, and he had an 1,800% increase in profile views within 3 days. Gary Vaynerchuk reached out to him, he said. I was like, what? How did he reach out to you? He's like, let me show you my strategy. And it was like, and he wrote a testimonial on my profile, on my thing, and I have 400 reviews on my LinkedIn profile. Most people don't have any recommendations on their LinkedIn profile. I have 400. So that's another thing for you, is get a few recommendations on your LinkedIn profile. Now I know that you're in a company and in an industry where you have limitations on what you can post and the types of reviews that people can leave you and how things work, but you still can get approved content posted. You can generate the content in advance, get it approved, and get it posted. My point is, there's a missed opportunity for a lot of people listening to this. LinkedIn is a place where you can truly build wealth, you can truly build relationships, and if you learn how to leverage it, if you start getting recommendations, getting social proof, if you start posting, if you start commenting on other people's posts, you can do really, 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 really well. I see you're not really, yeah.
For
so
like a business owner, CEO, that is, I think you indicated the frequency people just aren't putting out there. Oh, I'm too busy, or I'm too good for
They're
this,
just ignoring it. They're just ignoring it. They don't even know the value. Like it's like before I started networking, Andrew, I didn't know the value of networking. Before I joined an association, 12 years ago called the Executives Association. I didn't know the value. Since then, I've generated tens of millions of dollars in revenue as a result of being part of that association. Before you joined EO, you didn't know the value of EO. You didn't know that EO was a thing, that entrepreneurs get together and you're able to kind of learn from Jack Daly. And we didn't know that. We didn't know any of that. And now all of a sudden you're like, hang on a second. This is like a cheat code to be part of EO. It's like, oh my, I can have a forum, like a board of advisors for free for half a day a month where they will tear apart my business and give me tons of gestalt experience, share. Wow. And it's a global network, and I can join the board and I can travel the world, and they'll pay me to travel the world and to go to the Global Leadership Summit and meet thousands of people from all over the world and build relationships and really expand my business. Wow, I can do that? Wow, I didn't know that. That's cheat code. Like learning how to network is a cheat code. Learning how to build relationships is a cheat code. Learning how to use AI is a cheat code. Learning how to use LinkedIn is so powerful, my friend, because it's a 24/7 global networking event. And by the way, the thousands of customers that I have on my AI, they came from LinkedIn. I didn't even advertise. I didn't spend $1 advertising yet. I'm going to start advertising, but just to get my business off the ground, for it to pay for itself, I use LinkedIn. I have 46,000 followers on LinkedIn, and I'm just getting started.
And for me, reactive LinkedIn, right? It's just all these people messaging me, and I'll connect if they connect to me. So that's, again, if you were a business owner, if you spend 20 minutes a day on LinkedIn, would you say is that an acceptable amount of time? 20 minutes a day can have a 10 times, 100 times impact to your business. 20 minutes.
I think that if you spend 15 minutes a day together with artificial intelligence, it can have a significant impact in your business on being proactive and doing the right things. And the 3 activities and the 3 results that you want is you want exposure, you want credibility, and you want meetings with your ideal target market. Number 1 is exposure. How do you get exposure? You post. I just showed you how to post, right? You go to evyi.com. You tell it what topic you want. It'll generate a topic. You pick one of the 4 topics. You hit generate post, and within 3 seconds, 5 seconds, it'll have a post ready to go, optimized. You then will edit the post, add an image to it, and post it on LinkedIn, just like that, okay? That's number 1, post. That'll get you exposure. You want to post consistently. I recommend posting daily. You don't have time to go and spend 1 minute writing a post and then 2 minutes editing it and another 2 minutes posting it. You don't have that 5 minutes? Okay, then do it once a week. But 5 minutes posting. The next thing you want to do is you want to spend 5 minutes leaving comments. With AI, you can leave comments very quickly. I have an AI tool that allows you to literally just leave comments. You just push a button, it reads the post and drops a comment. and then you approve the comment and edit it before it posted, because again, the AI will sometimes write things that don't make sense. And so drop 10 comments a day. Again, 10 comments a day. It'll take you 30 seconds per comment. Drop 10 comments a day strategically. We allow you to save profiles into a list so you can strategically comment on people's stuff. And then the next thing you want to do is to book meetings, is just send messages to people. You know, Andrew, I sent you a message back in 2008, November 26, 2008. I said, Andrew, it looks like we're both connected on LinkedIn, but we haven't chatted yet. Would you like to see what we're doing for CEOs on LinkedIn? Just to kind of build a relationship with you. No response. That's okay. January 18th, 2019, I followed up. I said, hey, if you have a few moments, I'd be interested in hearing more about what you're doing with Bayntree Wealth. No response. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. And today I sent you a message and I said, thank you for having me on your podcast. I made it. I got to the podcast.
Listen, Joe, I play hard to get, okay? I play hard to get.
I like that. No, my point is this. Just because people don't reply to you, it doesn't mean they're not going to have you on their podcast. It doesn't mean they're not noticing you. You're busy. You don't have time to reply to every message you get. You're busy. You're living life. You're making money. You're making millions of dollars. You don't have to reply, but you noticed me. You saw me. You know that I exist. When I came to Arizona, you're like, I know this guy. I want him on my podcast. Now I made it to your podcast. It wasn't that much time that I had to wait, 5 years. But think about it. People overestimate what they can achieve in 1 year, and they underestimate what they can achieve in a decade. Think about where we will be in 5 years from now after we have this conversation. Finally, We're having a conversation. We're building a relationship. Now, I promise you, after this meeting, you're going to go on LinkedIn and reply to me and say, Joe, you're the man. I love you, man. I got to learn how to use LinkedIn. I got to join your course. I got to do something. There's something that's got to happen.
No, there's no doubt. And I did see in action, listeners, the AI technology that he's built in LinkedIn to respond to posts. And it was literally within 12 seconds, there was this beautiful written remark from Joe that you didn't even have to edit. And then it went right to this person. And you did that 10 times a day. And I assume half of them are going to respond to you. And it was eloquently written, right? It would have taken you probably 7 minutes to write that.
Yeah, 100%. 7 minutes to think about and question my life of whether or not I should write that and if I'm going to be judged. But if someone else prepares a beautifully written message, whether it's a DM, whether it's a direct message, or whether it's a comment, or whether it's a post, or whether it's a recommendation, or even a connection note, any of the activities that you need to do on LinkedIn to get exposure, get credibility, and book meetings, if you have AI help you, not do it for you, help you by drafting it for you, you're going to save a ton of time. But again, that's just one thing. I go on LinkedIn Live every day, okay? I don't know if you know this about me, but I go on LinkedIn Live every single day except for Saturday or when I have my kids. My goal is 244 times this year. Can you guess why I'm on LinkedIn Live so often? Is it because I get millions of people to see my stuff? No, it's not. Let me tell you why. Want me to tell you why? The reason I go on LinkedIn Live is so that I can take that video, throw it into an AI, and it can turn it into little clips for Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and Twitter. And you'd be like, why you want to create clips for that? I want to create 1,000 clips. I want to create 1,000 clips of me talking. I don't need anyone to watch my LinkedIn Live. Yesterday, somebody watched it. He called me up, and he's signing to my Sales Navigator bootcamp that's starting on February 7th. We're teaching him how to use Sales Navigator over 6 weeks. We're going to teach him how to use all the aspects of Sales Navigator. He was one of, let's say, 12 people that attended my live session. If you had a venue where 12 people sat there and they were willing to listen to you talk about whatever, and it was recorded, and then the AI would then edit those videos and take the most viral 30 seconds of that entire 30 minutes of you talking to 12 of your ideal clients anyway, why wouldn't you do it? The answer is because most people don't even know that they can do that. And most people don't know that AI edits videos for you. Most people don't know that AI captions videos for you. Most people don't know that you can summarize talks. I can take every LinkedIn Live that I've ever done. The AI will type the whole thing up, turn it into an article, and email it to 10,000 people.
Magic.
What?
Yep.
What? How's that even possible? And somebody's like, yeah, but Joe, I don't have email addresses for all of my LinkedIn connections. I have them. I have the email addresses for all 3,200 people that you're connected to. I just push a button, the AI finds me all their email addresses, then I put it into my marketing automation softwares, and let's rock and roll. Let's start sending messages. Let's start sending text messages. We don't want to be annoying. We want to build relationships. I wasn't annoying in any of the messages I sent you. You would have disconnected and blocked me if I tried to sell you something. I just wanted to learn about your business, but you were too busy to respond, which is fine. That's what we do for our clients. We'll go into your account, and we'll respond for you. We'll help you. We'll make sure that when someone says, hey, I want to learn about your wealth advisory, that we flag it for you and say, hello, One of your assistants, this guy wants wealth advice or whatever it is, or this guy wants to sell you something but twist it around. Somebody called me today, cold called me. This is a big lesson for everyone. Someone called me today, and they said, "Hi, is this Joe?" And I said, "Who's calling?" That's how I always answer. "Who's calling?" And they're like, "I'm from a restoration company. Is this Joe?" I was like, "Yes, this is Joe. How can I help you?" It's like, "Oh, well, I'm just curious to know if you're still in the market for restoration. My boss told me to follow up with you. You were in the market for restoration." I said, we actually help restoration companies with digital marketing." And she's like, "Yeah, but that's not why I'm calling." I said, "I understand that's not why you're calling, but God has a reason for everything." I said, "Let me ask you a question. What address would you like to do restoration for me?" She tells me some address, or it was like 5 addresses ago, that she obviously bought some rogue list from a random thing. So I said, "That address, I haven't been there in 25 years. Okay, just FYI. But I'm going to be very nice to you. I just looked at your website, and you haven't updated your website in 2017, and I see a vulnerability. Can you put me in touch with your managing director? I have to talk to him. I have to help him with his business." He's like, "You're the nicest guy I've spoken to all month." He's like, "Of course." He's like, "What's your cell phone? What's your email? I'm going to make sure it gets on his desk and he speaks to you." And I said, "Lady, let me tell you something. I don't even know what your name is, but I know that you are a blessed woman." And she's like, "Hallelujah! Hallelujah!" She literally said that. And we got all psyched up, and she's like, "I'm telling you, I adore you. I'm going to follow you online. I'm going to find you and follow you because I love everything about you. And you know what? I'm driving home for the gym. I'm 1 minute late for this interview. I'm loving life. And I'm on a cold call with someone that called me. And because I went to the sauna, and because I took care of myself, and because I prioritized my health, I was in the ability to get into this state of grace, of compassion, of love, of giving. Did you know something, Andrew? The secret to living is giving. Giving doesn't just mean giving money to people. Giving doesn't mean just doing favors for people. Giving means being present for someone that calls you. So what if they called you? That's their job. That's how they're paying for their kids' food. They're getting $15 an hour to call you, and you're going to be mean to them because you're not thinking? Take a moment and acknowledge the person. They called you on your cell. They entered your life. Be nice to people, and then it turns into business, hopefully, if you're smart about it.
Passion. Have you always had this passion for the business world, for helping people, for being empathetic? Is that something you had to learn, or is that built inside you?
I had to practice it. It's not so much learn, it's more of like a practice. Allowing yourself to be enthusiastic is something that many humans do not allow themselves to be, is because enthusiasm is extremely vulnerable. When I am like a kid in a candy store, I look like I'm not in control. I'm very, very in control. I use this as a strategy for connection, for love. And you know what? One of the things that I learned from my mentor, Tony, he said, "Joe," and I pictured him saying Joe when I read his book. He said, "Joe, Joe, other people's opinions are none of your business." And I was like, wow, that really struck a chord, because I always wanted everyone to accept me. But now I just have to accept myself. Everyone else's opinions don't matter. I went to this seminar called Landmark Education. I don't know if you ever heard of it, Andrew, but I'm a big fan of them. Great organization. They teach people how to become a little more aware, how to get in touch with the voice in their head, and how to make sense out of the stories we tell ourselves. And one of the things that I learned there is that you're a player on the field. You're a player. If you're a player on the field, do the opinions of the thousands of fans in the stands matter? One day they'll love you, one day they'll hate you. In the same moment, right? They'll love you, they'll hate you, they'll yell at you, they'll scream at you. If you're playing just to make the fans happy, you're not going to be a great player. You are a player in your life. The people watching you are not in your life. They're not in your game. They have opinions. They're going to yell at you, they're going to scream at you, they're going to like you. You got to do your best to show up fully, to be the light. And I am the light when I show up with enthusiasm, with excitement, with happiness, with passion, and it's a practice, like building muscles, a practice. Showing up and not caring about other people's opinions and just loving yourself fully and knowing your authenticity. Someone told me last night, we went to Micro Center to fix my computer, and as we're driving in the car, and he's like, "You know what I love about authenticity?" I said, "What?" He's like, "It's the truth." Authenticity is when somebody just kind of knows that they know the truth and they're just showing up with who they really are. He's like, "That I gobble up." I said, every human gobbles up. That's how you're a great public speaker. If you get up in front of a crowd and you are literally yourself, you are literally just yourself, people will love you. When you're with your best friend, you're yourself. So why are you hiding and trying to be somebody else with your prospects? Just be who you are. Some of them might not like you. I once rapped for a prospect, and he hated it so much, he's like, "I can't do business with someone that raps." I was like, "So don't do business with me." I was like, first of all, you're a racist. That's A. Second of all, who cares if I rap? I was like, look into it. He's like, I'm not a racist. I said, anyone that says it's not a racist is a racist.
Yeah, and you practice what you preach, because I still remember, you usually see somebody speak and took a couple tidbits and you're gone. You were in the midst of, you had the audience wrapped around, you had the energy going, and then you get this phone call and you go, guys, I got to answer this. It's my daughter. And you took the phone call in front of 300 CEOs that you had wrapped around your finger, gone through AI, and you were vulnerable. You were you. And I think the audience appreciated that, because they don't see that. They don't see somebody answering the phone, even if it is their kid. And it got me thinking, would I have done that to my 17-year-old daughter? So I just thought that was incredible to show your vulnerability, who you are. And you didn't pull punches that day. You swore. You got people out of their comfort zone. And there were probably 3% that didn't like you. It's okay.
Yeah.
100% remembered you.
Yeah. Yeah, some people are not. See, that's one thing about being polarizing, and Russell Brunson writes about this in his book called Expert Secrets, which is, if you haven't read that book, highly recommend it. If you want to be an expert, highly recommend that book. He says you have to be polarizing. Not everyone's going to like you. If you're like the person vanilla in the middle, where you're not this and you're not that, you're not anything, no one's going to even care about you. But don't be crazy. Don't go off the deep end completely. I wasn't crazy in front of the stage. I didn't pull out my pants and go nuts. But I was polarizing. I was passionate. I was myself. I showed up. And whenever you're polarizing, people are not going to like you. A few people are not going to like you, but the vast majority of people are going to love you, like you, and appreciate you just for the fact that you're being authentic and real. And that is rare. That is rare. Even showing up in this podcast like this, being able to give you the energy, bringing the energy as a guest, rare. Rare. Go listen to all the other episodes of this. You will not find another person with my level of energy that's bringing the passion and the love, because you know what? I don't have an agenda to try to buy anyone to buy anything. I don't have an agenda for anyone to like me. I'm showing up here giving love, showing up fully for you, Andrew, because we're having a conversation, and when I show up fully for you, I'm loving your audience too. I'm connecting with your audience too. And that, my friends, when I hear someone talking like that, I get the shivers. If you get the shivers, if you connect with this message, then hit me up. Send me a message. My cell phone number is on my LinkedIn profile. I'm easy to find. Send me a WhatsApp. Say, Joe, I listened to Andrew's podcast and I loved what you said. Just say hello. Here's a big thing that I talk about in my book, High Energy Networking. I say, email people that write books. And you'll be like, what the hell does that mean? It's one of my best networking secrets. You buy a book. Someone spent his entire life building this book, and then they give you their email address inside the book, and you don't email them after you spent 14 hours reading a book, and you don't email the guy. Email the guy. Build a relationship. Do a selfie. I reached out to Bob Berg, the author of The Go-Giver. I read his book, Endless Referrals, like when I started networking, and I was so impressed. I sent him an email, and I said, Bob, I'm coming to Florida. I'd like to do a selfie with you. I'm a big fan of yours. He's like, come over to my house. Let's do it. I was like, oh my God, I love this guy. We did a selfie with an author. Another guy, Hal Elrod. He wrote The Miracle Morning. I hit him up. I said, I love your stuff. You're amazing. I brought him to EO New York before he became famous. I brought him to EO New York. I do this all the time. I email people. I don't always get a response. But more often than not, the author is so appreciated because no matter how famous they are, most people are afraid to approach a celebrity like that. Try it. Try it. They will love it. Go take your top 20 books from hopefully you're reading books. Take your top 20 books and email every single author. Emails James Clear. Email Tony Robbins. Email these people. You're not going to get everyone to respond, but if you get 2 or 3 relationships out of it, these are relationships for life, and you already went deep with them. You already know them intimately. Why not build a relationship?
Love that advice. I never would have thought about that. And how many people are doing it? Very few. So great advice there. Question for you on work-life balance. So I know in the past you didn't take care of your health. You were working, you were stressed, had the young kids, and then you've kind of turned the corner these last 5 years or so. So a lot of us out there, same boat, right? We don't have time to take care of ourselves. I'm too busy. I'm too stressed. Let's, as we kind of wind down today, let's talk about work-life balance for you, what you saw, what you're doing, and some tips and strategies to help somebody who was in your position a few years ago to get to where you are now?
A few years ago, when I was over 100 pounds overweight and I just wasn't happy, and I was smoking and I was doing a lot of different things that were just not healthy for me, what I realized is that the impact of how I treat my body and how I treat my mind affects every part of my life. It affects my performance as a father. It affects my performance as a friend. It affects my performance as a community leader. It affects my performance as a public speaker. It affects my performance as a CEO, as a coach. It affects my performance. And so if I want to be able to affect all those things, I got to prioritize the role called self. When I teach goal setting, I always tell people you got to set goals to your roles. I know it sounds kitschy and it rhymes, but you have many different roles in your life. And the most ignored role is not CEO, is not father, is not husband, is not friend, is not lover, it's not gangster rapper. The most ignored role is self. That's the most ignored role. We ignore self because we don't prioritize it. No one's going to prioritize yourself. No one's going to prioritize you. You need to love yourself so much that you're willing to put in 2 or 3 hours a day to your own well-being, which means waking up a little bit earlier, going to the gym, or running, or meditating, or all of the above. Whatever it is that you need to do, and set a small goal. Like in January, I joined a new gym. I moved to New Jersey. I joined a new gym. And I said, I'm going to go 10 times in January to the gym. Today was my 10th time. I accomplished it. You don't have to do every single day. You don't have to do it for the rest of your life. But set a goal. I said, I'm going to do running, lifting, and sauna. That's all. I'm going to do running. And even if I only have 30 minutes, I'll do 10 minutes of running, 10 minutes of lifting, 10 minutes of sauna. But often I'll do 20 minutes of each or 30 minutes of each. And I'll just go for it, depending on the day. But ultimately, at the end of the day, if you don't prioritize, if you don't put in the big rocks, your 24 hours are like a jar. In the jar, there are 3 things that you could fill it with. You could fill it with rocks, pebbles, and you could fill it with sand. Sand is all the things that just happen in your life. If you don't put in your priorities first, the big rocks into the jar, there's no way that once the sand fills up the jar that you're going to be able to put in the big rocks. They're not going to fit. You might be able to get a few pebbles in, like work, but the big rocks, like the things that are really important, like your health, those things you got to put in first. You got to set your goal for the month and say, I'm going to put the biggest rocks in first, then the pebbles I'll put in, which is work, and then the sand will be everything else that fills up my life. If you think of how much time you have in your life, you'll realize that you have enough time to do it, but you're not prioritizing it. And if you don't prioritize yourself will fall apart. It's like your teeth. If you don't take care of your teeth, eventually they'll go away.
Have you ever felt bad coming out of the gym, out of the sauna? Have you
never
ever felt worse?
Never felt worse. Never
felt worse.
Never.
And, it's like January, everybody's got those New Year's resolutions, and then by February, they drop off. It's just these little wins. And I think back to your accountability, whether you're having the gym holding you accountable, your loved ones holding you accountable. For you, maybe your social network helps to hold you accountable. But the key is, and this is part of that health and wealth, is that if you could have all the money in the world, but if you're not happy inside, you're not healthy inside, you're doing you a disservice, you're doing your clients a disservice, you're doing your employees a disservice, and you're doing your family a disservice. So you owe it to yourself.
You owe it to yourself to show up fully in every part of your life, and it's hard to show up fully when you have tons of stress hormones. It's hard to show up fully when your lymph is not moving around. You have more lymph in your body than you have blood, but you don't have a pump, and you have to jump, and you have to move, and you have to get yourself going in order for you to have the energy. I haven't eaten anything today, and my energy doesn't come from food. They say breakfast is the most important meal. They lied to you. Eating muffins and donuts for breakfast is going to kill you. Instead, what you have to do is learn the power of fasting, learn the power of hydration, learn the power of salt and electrolytes. Learn about your body. Most of us aren't even breathing correctly. Learn about posture. Learn about personal development. Learn about optimizing your beliefs. These are things that your parents are not teaching you. Your schools are not teaching you these things. If you can get your mindset right, your habits, your thoughts, your beliefs, if you can get that right, you can accomplish anything you want in life. The problem is that we're pre-programmed with a bunch of crap that we were born into, and we think that's who we are. I'm telling you that's not who you are. You're a light, you're beautiful, you're amazing, you're gorgeous, you're unstoppable, and all you got to do is optimize yourself to be able to accomplish anything you want in your life. And it starts with the small daily actions that you take. Actions speak louder than words. You either have actions, which creates results, or you have words and excuses, which basically wastes your time. So I want you to, listening to this, say to yourself, you know what? I'm going to do one thing better this year. 2024, I'm going to do one thing better. Maybe it means reading a book a month. Maybe it means reading a book a quarter, like studying it, going deep. Maybe it means being brave and posting on social media that you need support, that you need help. Maybe it means hiring a therapist or a coach. Maybe it means hiring Andrew as your financial advisor to help you become wealthy. Whatever it is that you want to do, just take the step, make the phone call, take the action, commit. Once you commit, once you make a decision, that's when the magic happens. So commit, get accountability, and start taking action.
Amen, brother. Great advice there. So let's wrap up just what we talked about, some actionable steps beyond what you just said there. But what listeners, what you're going to do, you're going to learn ChatGPT, you're going to load Bard, and you're going to either do it on your own or you're going to go through the show notes, and Joe and his team have tutorials. They've done it. They're going to help you. You're going to take baby steps. 2, get back to LinkedIn, focus on your network. You're going to post. Doesn't have to be daily, but you should, right? And you're going to build your network because that network is power. And if you need it, we've got an AI and it's Evie. Is it, how do I pronounce it?
Evie AI, EVYAI.com. Yeah, EVYAI.com.
And we've got a free version. You don't even have to pay for it, right? Blood, sweat, and tears were put into developing it. I've seen it in action. So that's number 2. Number 3, you're going to focus on yourself. You're going to focus on making a positive impact to yourself, to your people, to your network, to your friends, to your family. And you're going to do that by holding yourself accountable. What did we miss?
I don't think we missed anything. I think that, ultimately at the end of the day is if you want to get somewhere, you have to know where you want to go. Having a vision, having a goal, getting people around you to support you, making sure that you're taking the right daily actions, you're going to live a life of purpose. I want to tell everyone that the secret to living is giving, but charity starts at home. Give to yourself first. The secret to living is giving, but charity starts at home. So give yourself first. Fill up your own cup. So from the overflow of your cup, you can bless everybody else. In the Jewish religion, we fill up a cup and we bless. Every Friday night, we bless the day. And what does it mean to bless the day? That means we fill up our cup and we make the cup overflow. And from the overflow, everybody else gets blessings, but that cup is for us. We got to drink the cup. We got to fill up our own cup. You got to say those affirmations. You got to optimize those beliefs and be able to give yourself that love. If you're expecting love to come from somewhere else for you to feel fulfilled inside, that's not going to work. And so looking at your business, looking at LinkedIn, looking at artificial intelligence, looking at those things that will help you be able to accomplish, to have a better life, lean on that. Get the support that you need, because that's ultimately how you're going to be more successful, by getting the support you need. By the way, Andrew, a lot of people are afraid of getting support. They think that if they get support, they're not the man or they're not the woman or they haven't been self-made. Nobody's self-made. When you're born, if you weren't given love, you die. You die. You literally die. You need support. We are built as human beings to be social animals, social creatures. We need to be able to get that support. So don't be afraid to ask somebody for support. If you need support, I'm here to support you. Andrew's here to support you. We're here to add value to your life. And if you don't have the time to do it yourself, then we can help you do it. If you need a course on AI, we have 1,000 ChatGPT prompts inside our course. It's called newaicourse.com. If you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, you could find me. Just search Joe Apfelbaum on Google or on LinkedIn. You'll find me very quickly. It's APFELBAUM. I bought a domain, joelinkedin.com, which takes you to my LinkedIn very quickly. My cell phone number is on my profile. Hit me up. Send me a text. Send me a WhatsApp. Send me a message. Connect with me. Follow me. Connect with Andrew on LinkedIn. Andrew's going to start taking it more seriously, and he's going to start posting, and he's going to start responding to people's messages, and he's going to start connecting, because now he sees like, oh my gosh, a lot of it has to do with awareness. A lot of it is like knowing that with LinkedIn, you can add tens of thousands of followers by just literally adding connections, just like that. And you can do it strategically and powerfully. So I'm here for you. Hopefully this inspired you to take some action. Hopefully you will take that action. Hopefully you'll reach out to an author of a book that you've read. There were a lot of little nuggets in here. Go back, read the show notes. And you know what? If you enjoy this episode, pay it forward. Send this episode to a friend. And then also go to the iTunes and leave a review for this podcast. Most people don't do that, but leave a review and then send Andrew an email. Say, hey, Andrew, I just left you a review. Send me that gift card.
Love it, Joe. Well, with that, I think we did it. You said it all. Tremendous episode. I'm excited. I'm usually pumped every day, but you got me a little bit more excited today. I'm going to go run through the walls out of here, and we're going to rock and roll. But no, appreciate the time. Listeners, all the show notes will be in there, all the ways to get a hold of Joe and his team. You owe it to yourself. Thank you, Joe. Happy planning, everybody. We'll see you real soon on a brand new episode of Your Wealth and Beyond later this month.
Boom.